Hey, I'm Jeff the Junk Seller, and this presentation is going to be about an accumulation of tool tags, equipment tags for Texaco, the Port Arthur plant here in Texas. I first learned about these tags, the availability of these, over a year ago. There was a guy that comes to. He used to set up at Canton. And then he disappeared for a little while, and then he started showing back up. Always had really great stuff, and he had a bunch of these. And there were a couple of us that bought a handful of them. He had quite a few of them there that were made into keys, and I bought a handful of them. I bought the of the ones that I found. I bought the best ones that I could find. I didn't know what kind of price he wanted to get out of them, and I bought a whole handful of stuff from him. So it wound up being that I just asked him, because they were sprinkled throughout his inventory, a little box here, a handful here and a handful there. And I asked him how many of them they had. I just assumed that he had a bucket of them somewhere, and he told me that he did. And I know one dealer that bought some of them from him and took them out and found a guy that he knew was a collector of Petroliana stuff, and he sold him 10 of these keys for $200. And a lot of them on eBay are $14.50 a piece. If it's turned into a key, they're getting $35 for them. If they're a name badge, if they've got a pin back and look like they were not a name badge but an employee badge, they're getting $35, $50 a piece for them. Now, when he presented these, first of all, I knew about these over a year ago, and every once in a while I would send him a message, or I'd run into him and I'd ask him if he found them, and he always kept telling me that he didn't. And believe it or not, just about 6 weeks, it wasn't even that. I'm going to say about 3 weeks before he sent me a message, I was thinking about how I was probably never going to get these. I was even a little, I don't know, angry about it. But he sent me a message from out of the blue and said, "Hey, I'm going to be set up at Canton, and I found those I found those tags." And sure enough, he brought them in a bucket. They were only about 2.5 inches deep in that bucket, but there wound up being 1,859 of them. And I graded them. I'd call them grade A and grade B. Of the grade A ones, the better ones, I found 863 of them, and I boxed those up, and I backstocked them. I put them in a file cabinet, in a storage unit. And the thing with those is I will eventually bring those out and sell them for $8 a piece, 10 for 50. They're $14.50 a piece online, and I got 863 of them in that kind of in decent condition, and I paid just over a nickel a piece for them. So I'll probably be selling these damn things for the rest of my life. I'll sell them. I'll put them up. I'll sell them again. Put them back up. But it will be a revenue stream that I'll be able to tap every once in a while. I'll be able to get my $100 back out of them pretty quickly. And out of those, additionally, there were 54 of them that are brass. Out of 1,859 of them, only 54 were brass. And those are showing up online for about $18 a piece, but they're all sold out. And I think that I'll probably put mine in 2x2 flips, and I'll probably get $18 to $22 a piece for them, is what I'm going to price them at, because they are, they do seem to be the scarcest of them all. And then there were two that were marked PA Terminal instead of Port Arthur Works. They were marked PA Terminal, and there were 6 of them that were marked TT Terminal, which I assume is Texaco. But there were some rarer varieties. If I did census data just based off of this group of 859 of them, there are some that are a lot rarer. And those that are that are rare in this group, I will hold those and get better money for them. The ones that are TT terminal, I'll probably put $40 a piece on them. Same with the ones that are marked PA terminal, just because they seem to be exceptionally rare out of this group of tags. Now, whether or not that means anything to the greater population that I didn't get a hold of, I really don't know. But there's probably quite a few of these out there. Now, I did find that some were copper nickel of the grade A and the grade B. Some of them are copper nickel, and the other ones are steel. And I ran. I have one little tub that I'm going to take out and try to sell to get, I'm going to put them to market already to try to get my money back and then some. But out of those, I used magnets to pull the steel ones out of there, and there were 34 of them that were copper nickel out of the batch of 434. So that's less than 8% of them are copper nickel. So, while I'll be offering these that are grade B, I'll be offering them at $3 each or 10 for 20. The ones that are copper nickel, I'll probably put at $5 each, or 10 for 40. But I'll do that separate from. I'll run the copper nickel ones sometimes and run the steel ones at other times, just to try. If I put both varieties out at the same time, I'll probably just confuse the shoppers. And whatever you do, whenever you do something like that, if I've got steel ones priced at 10 for 20, they're going to tell me that they'll buy those and buy the copper nickel ones, but they'll want them at the same 10 for 20 price. You just you got to eliminate options for them to try to negotiate like that, because if you don't, you're going to just put up with headache after headache, and they'll pretend that they're not going to buy and walk away, but most of the time they come back. But I have a tendency to they're going to show me, they always, I get into I don't know how to say, it gets into an ornery contest. And it's one that it's just better if I avoid it. But these tags, I mean, it was an amazing deal. When he presented them, he wanted me to make him an offer, and I had no idea what to offer him. I was thinking that I would be happy at $100, actually. And he wouldn't name a price, and I said, "So what do you need for it? I mean, you need $50, $100, $1,000, And he had estimated that there were 3,000 in there, which was overestimate, because there were only 1,859 of them. But yeah, he said that he'd be happy with $100 out of them. He got them at an auction somewhere, and he's probably made his money. I mean, I know this guy. He's a pretty good businessman. He's no fool. But he's always got some really, really great stuff, and I'm glad that he was that he committed to it. He told me that he would let me know whenever he found them, and even though it was over a year, and I just knew that he had forgotten about it. He did bother calling me up or sending me a message on Facebook and let me know that he'd discovered them and would have them at Canton. And I was thrilled to get them. I'll probably get will probably take me 6 weeks or so, and I'll talk about it on the other presentations that I make about the other markets, about how quickly I got my $100 back. But I'm pretty certain that it will happen fairly quickly, and I'll have a huge amount of back stock to profit off of. But I've got to sort through them all. I had to count these, just because I had the ability to make a census chart about it. I just, I felt like I had to get the count. And I don't know, that's super, super geeky, but it's what I do. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this presentation, then please view some of my other material, and if you enjoy that as well, then please subscribe. But thank you for viewing.